Welcome to another episode of A Page I Love. This is Kevin Sharp. Today I'm joined by artist Mark Schultz. Mark, it's a pleasure to have you here. I know we have a lot of fans of your work watching the show right now, so welcome to Comic Art Fans.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. It's good to be here.
I know that at least one person who's seeing this, you've chosen something near and dear to his heart, and that is my producer Bill, who I know is coveting a page of Kubert Hawkman art from the Silver Age. Tell us about the issue that you've chosen and kind of when it first came into your life.
Well, th this holds a very special place in my heart, as it is the first comic book I ever owned. Brave and the Bold, number 42, 1962, with Hawkman and Hawkgirl being the featured characters. Gorgeous, gorgeous art by the, I think, vastly underappreciated Joe Kubert. And part of my picking this is not only it was the first comic book I owned. It changed. I absolutely changed the direction of my life, and I just don't think Kubert gets the attention he should. So it was kind of it was the right piece to pick.
Would this have been a spinner rack purchase for you? How did you find this issue?
Okay, so yeah, that's the story. Again, 6 years old in the first grade, and I'd seen comic books. I'd seen them on racks. I friends had brought them to school, but I'd never owned my own comic book. So, got to go into the hospital to have my tonsils taken out. Before I go in for surgery, my mom asks, "What can I get you? Something to read, something?" And I said, "Well, I've always wanted a comic book. Give me a." I knew Batman, so I said, "Give me a Batman comic." She says, "Okay." So she comes back. I don't remember the exact timing of all this, but I think it was after I came out of surgery and I'm all groggy and woozy from the anesthetic. And she says, "I'm sorry I couldn't find a Batman comic, but I hope this is okay." It was a little bit of a disappointment at first that it wasn't Batman, but it was that cover is everything you want to see when you're 6 years old. Bug-eyed aliens and Hawkman and Hawkgirl in aerial combat. I was in and out of again of the anesthetic, but I kind of started coming out of it, but it was night, and I'm laying there in the hospital bed, and I see this comic, and I pick it up, and from the only light I had was the light coming in from the light in the parking lot outside was coming through the window. So I'm still woozy from the drugs, and it was a I'm telling you, in that light, I tried to read the comic as best I could, and it was a hallucinogenic experience. And I am not a hallucinogen kind of guy. I have enough trouble keeping my imagination under control when I'm perfectly sober. So anyway, it was a wild experience, and that cemented going through that. I can still remember vividly to this day Kubert's his art is very visually evocative and very exciting to me as it is, but with the added experience of seeing this in a altered state of mind, it just kind of cemented my allegiance to comics as an art form and as an exciting storytelling experience. It's not just the cover. I know I'm cheating here a little bit. It was the whole book.
If we could shift to kind of the Mark of right now, the professional with many years of illustration experience under his belt, when you look at this cover kind of with fresh eyes, what jumps out at you now?
Well, we could talk for several hours about the strengths of Kubert in general. In retrospect, I don't think this is necessarily one of Kubert's strongest covers compositionally. And this cover is kind of a little on the maybe there's a little too much going on to really center your eye. But again, I'm looking at that from the perspective of someone who, who's much older and seen a lot more work and seen a lot more Kubert covers. Looking at this now, why did I get hooked on Kubert? And this was before I had any idea the individuals who were doing the comics. But Kubert kind of affected me in the same way that Wally Wood did, in that there's something of the psychology of the artist, and I don't know how to explain it. Just in the way he draws expressions, the subtlety of the expressions, the look in the eyes of his character, you can see some, I don't know what the word, psychological depth in the characters. It's just implied. And I think it might be the less is more thing. It's subtle. You see artists who are also, and it's become more prevalent in years after the 60s, where big expressions are used on their characters, like very amplified expressions to get across the story, which is fine. It's just another way of doing things. But it's kind of like in movies, they say less is more in expressions because the film media broadcast big on a screen, the intimacy of that with the audience. And I kind of like that. I kind of feel that works in comics too. And Kubert was a master of that, of just subtlety in expression and gesture, postures of the characters getting across more than necessarily you saw through the dialogue and the story itself. So yeah, I could go on and on about Joe Kubert. I wish I was in that ballpark.
Do you own any Joe Kubert original pages from
I
either
do.
Brave and the Bold or anything?
I have one of his war pages. It's a Sergeant Rock page, and yeah, I wish I had more, but I do have that.
What is there that we should be on the lookout for from your pen that's out in the market now or coming out?
My publisher, John Fleskus, Plus Publications, is reissuing a new. It's not a reissue so much as a new edition of my portfolio, which collects all my various drawing sketchbooks. There's a lot of additional images that didn't make their way into the original five various drawings books added. So I think there's something like 160 extra pages of art in this. It's a massive doorstop of a book. We'll have it going out to customers in the fall. Other than that, I continue to work on my follow-up to my Storms at Sea book, illustrated novel, and this will be another heavily illustrated novel. And I slowly hack away at a new Xenozoic story, a graphic novel that's been years in the work, and and I will get it done as I financially can find a way to get it done.
With that tease is a perfect place for us to step out the door. Thank you so much again. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. And I hope people that may not be familiar with Joe Kubert's work, take a look. It's important stuff.